Sound check, please, if you don't mind, just so I don't start talking. I can't hear him. Could you give me a yes if you can hear me okay, please? While I'm cleansing myself with awakening and protection incense sticks with pure Moldavite dust. There you go. There you go. Available at markbajerski.com. There you go. You want to know what's inside them? There you go. And after I've cleansed myself, Moldavite oil with this slice of Moldavite inside. So just give me 1 or 2 minutes and I'll just cleanse myself. Although I'm not doing psychic work, I'm still trying to channel certain memories of past. So the Moldavite oil, brand new one, Moldavite oil is predominantly Palo Santo, exactly the same as the sticks that I've been burning. So here's how I use it. Third eye. I always have a few words, which is help me see the truth, which makes sense around here. Seeing is the third eye. Help me speak the truth. Obviously around the throat. Back of my ears, help me hear the truth. And I go to my heart normally, help me feel the truth. That's normally my mantra. And then I breathe the Palo Santo natural, beautiful, sacred tree. Deep breath in, so it goes through the whole of my body and I can feel my body expanding. And then breathe out. You've also got Moldavite in there. So it's actually going into you. You can feel it going in. You've got Moldavite being all over your aura. It's fantastic. It really is fantastic. So I'm ready now. Welcome, everybody. Just on a side note, I just received a box that was returned from Bali. So whenever I send my crystals after I've worked with them for whether it's 10 hours, 20, 30 hours, when I'm happy with them, I send them to Bali and Bali then mount them. And after all these years of working with thousands of crystals, there was 3 particular crystals, and I've got them around my neck now, that I feel work so well together. That's Moldavite, that's Tektite, and Herkimer Diamond. So I chose 3 actually because they've just arrived, and I didn't realize that they were going to come in this order. So I was pretty excited. So I've got 3 of them. So the Tektite, as you can see here, it's absolutely beautiful. The capping setting is really nice now. I really like it. I'm really happy with that. And the big piece of Moldavite there, I don't know if you can see that big piece of Moldavite. That's from Maliklum. And the Herkimer Diamond is from the Ace of Mines. At the end of this hour, somebody's going to have this in their collection as a free gift from me. Also, I have another one, which is also absolutely beautiful. I've chosen them out of the ones that have arrived. Somebody's going to have that as well as a lovely gift. And of course, I do believe in the 3 as a divine number. Don't know why, just always feels right. And there's this one. Gosh, another beauty. Beautiful. And that's going to be given away to somebody today as a thank you for joining me today. Part of my success, I guess, is having one of the most amazing websites that sells the most beautiful crystals. I've got a team of amazing people around the world who cherry pick for me because of these past 3 years, we weren't allowed to travel much. So prior to that, I used to get on planes and travel and meet all my friends and partners that used to cherry pick from mines. And I used to always get the best bits. Very lucky. So part of that journey now is that I guess I built up a reputation and a business that, because I've worked with all of these tools and I've gone through thousands of different tools, thousands of different incenses, oils and crystals, to know which one I feel, or which I feel works best on what area of the body and the mind, the spirit. The oils and the incense, how they cleanse and clear and heal certain parts of the body, both mind, body, and spirit. So it kind of makes sense, really. Whereas you've got companies that just sell crystals. They don't really know anything about them. What they do is they might go to 2 or 3 websites and steal their information and then just put it out there as if everybody knows that that's what this crystal does. Most people realize that I don't speak in the same way as other people's websites. I don't. I speak in the way of my working experience. That's it. So like somebody will say, oh, look at this beautiful Super 7. Did you know it does this? And I'll say, really? Well, it didn't really work that way for me, but this is what it did on so many clients. And it kind of has a pattern, but not like, it's not set in stone. It's not set in crystal. So then I realized that books are a waste of time, because each individual has a different frequency, has a different body, whether that's the immune system, whether it's the physical, or whether it's the spiritual. Everybody's different. So a Moldavite will work on somebody in a way that you're just like, oh my God, my third eye just blew out of my head. Okay, put it on somebody else. You're just not going to believe what just happened to my heart. So you realize that after all these years, there isn't really a crystal that does one thing. Very few, if any. The one thing I did notice, though, with one particular crystal that did something that no other crystal did when I'm looking at the energy, when I'm working on a client. After I finish working, I sit down. Normally I used to sit down here and look at the client over there where that seat is. Okay. So I'd sit and close my eyes while that client was coming back again into their body. Okay. Because they may have flown away and now come back again. So I leave them, but I sometimes open my eyes and just look at the body and look around their body and see what's happening. And there was one particular crystal that one day just blew me away. And it was called Tektite. And that is this, the black one. And what I noticed was energy, residue after the healing session, which normally just like goes out of the window. It searches for a way out. If not, it sticks to the walls or sticks to you. And I saw from the woman's heart energy coming out, but going straight into the stomach. Like that doesn't normally happen. Why is it going into the stomach? And then I realized, oh, there's a crystal that I laid on top of her, which I used to do all the time with my clients, laying crystals on them. And it was a Tektite. So I got up, picked the Tektite up and moved it somewhere else. It might have been the solar plexus. It might have been further up. I can't remember, but I remember moving it. And then I sat back down, and what I saw was just blew me away. I just picked the Tektite out, put it away, sat down, turned around, looked again, and the heart, which was admitting this residue, was no longer going to the stomach, but going to where I'd laid the Tektite. That was my awakening to Tektite. And that's why I say Tektite is the most powerful crystal to absorb negative energy. And you'll always hear me say that's what it does. That's my humble opinion. So it's a protector, it's a cleanser, it's a vacuum cleaner. Where it goes inside and what it does to dispel it, I can't tell you. I don't know, but I just know that I've never had to cleanse and clear any of my Tektites. So the self-absorbing, self-cleansing and clearing, it's incredible. So I started this field of work many years ago. If you don't know who I am, not that important really, but I started 20 years ago. And I've worked with a lot of clients, and I've worked with thousands of crystals, thousands upon thousands. In fact, today I've handled 900. So, well, not 900, maybe maybe 500 I've handled. So you imagine, when I say my website has at this moment in time 11,000 crystals on, and I've handled each crystal. Each crystal that goes onto the website goes into my hand. Okay, so if you're learning from somebody, it's really important that you learn from somebody who actually does the work and understands the work and has spent hours. If you want to learn how to play football, you're going to find a professional football player, David Beckham, somebody who's brilliant. Why? Because they play the game, they study the game, they wake up every morning and they practice. This kind of makes sense. A lot of people are just reading from people who have no real experience about crystals. So they'll listen to somebody talking about Moldavite, but when you actually look at them, and this is one of the things that I did. One guy talks about Moldavite on YouTube, so I approached him and said, can we have a nice chat about Moldavite? Well, he wasn't interested. Do you know why he's not interested? Because he knows nothing about Moldavite. He's read a book, he's handled it for maybe a year, but he doesn't really know what Moldavite is. And when he knows that somebody who's worked with Moldavite for 20 years wants to just have a chat about it and feel the experience and what you've gone through with your clients, what you've done, not interested. Do you know how many people turn me down when I ask them to join me because they're so-called influencers on crystals? I had one person who was accepted. So you realize that there's a lot of fakery in this field of work, and it's very easy. There's a lot of fakery in every field of work, but the Moldavite field of work is the most, for me, one of the most difficult fields of crystals to work in, because there's ego, there's mafia, they only like me because I like Moldavite. That's it. That's the only reason why they put up with me. So I don't get involved in any of those things, not interested. But I am interested in the power of Moldavite. And that is the book that I've been working on for the past 8 years. The power of Moldavite is so incredible that the first time I touched a piece of Moldavite, I levitated off the ground. My body lifted off the ground. I was in a psychic show. I just finished, I think it was the Sunday. So we gets there on Friday, set up. Saturday, I had between 17 and 20 clients. And then Sunday, again, 17 to 20 clients. So I was basically chock-a-block. Right at the very end, my first mentor said, I've got something for you. Now, the psychic show was in H10 Hotel in Marbella, and it was called the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival. Jacinta was the woman who set it up. And I had my little stall, and my first mentor was with me, who was known as the Psychic Queen of Ireland. So she was there watching me, and it was an interesting show. And she called me over afterwards, and because my birthday is on the 20th of October and the show was always round about the 20th of October, she called me over, and we went over to this woman called, I can't remember her name, full of life. And she had a crystal stand. And remember, this was the very beginning of my healing work. So I'd only just sort of got into a little bit into crystals, not much, but really I was more focused on psychic readings and healings. Joelle, her name was Joelle. And I said, hi, Joelle. I met her before in the past. And then my mentor put something in my hand, and she says, close your eyes. And I closed my eyes, and I held something in my hand. And because I was really hyped up after 17 or 20 sessions, I was really in quite a good place in sense of heightened awareness. So as soon as it got into my hand started throbbing, and I closed my eyes, and my body felt like it was lifting. And I went, oh my God, what's that? And my mentor, I remember my mentor smiling, said, I knew you'd love it. She said, it's Moldavite. I want to introduce you to it. So from that moment on, I was hooked, hook, line, and sinker. From that moment on till today, I have been able to smell Moldavite in shops that wasn't even a crystal shop. I write about it in my book. I'm able to find Moldavite where no other person can find it, because the excitement, and you guys might know this, I'm not the only one, but when you get so excited about something, when something takes over your life, right, magic happens. There's something in that. And I'm sure it's not just Moldavite, but I would say that Moldavite is the most closest thing to feeling magic and the signs and the connection to our spirit world than any other crystal, even though it's not a crystal. And I don't know when it fell here. And I don't even know if anybody else knows when they make up the story of 15 million years, give or take 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. Who knows? It's just hearsay. So what is this crystal? Well, from my experience, I went on a mission to find out what this crystal is. And many years ago, I left for a trip to go to the Czech Republic to find out and understand it. So obviously, when you go there, you take a kind of a turn off to Germany before you get there, like I did. So I want to find the crater. I want to know where it's landed, where this big piece of beautiful green stone landed. And there's a kind of like when you get to the crater, there's it's almost like well, it is kind of museum, but it's more about meteorite science. So you go in and you sit down and you listen to the science. So there's a big screen and it says, okay, there's this big meteorite 50 million years ago starts to come down to the earth at an angle of this. So it didn't come this way, it came at an angle like this. But as it came down, it broke into two pieces. Oh, two pieces. That means there's another piece of Moldavite landed somewhere else. Yes. So as it comes down, it bangs into the ground. And because of the exchange of energy and everything that's within Mother Earth, it creates this, let's say, lather, and it spurts out, and all these little fragments go flying everywhere. So that was interesting. And I walked inside the whole of the first crater to feel the energy, laid down, felt it. It was quite spectacular, quite amazing, and very big. And you can go on different routes all the way around. So from there, we went to the second crater, which basically is a town. So you get up, the town is surrounded like a fortress, and you go into this kind of up these stairs, and you walk all the way around this fortress. Interesting. Felt the energy there, really interesting again, very fascinating energy. From there, I went to the Czech Republic and then introduced myself to a lot of people who'd already heard about me, because I was doing videos on Moldavite, saying, like right at the beginning, there's something very special. I don't know what it is, but hey, this just happened to my client. That just happened to my client. And this is what happened to me when I was doing psychic work. This is what happened to a little girl who came for a healing session. This is what, so I was telling people and sharing the stories, and I started doing workshops, and I was asked to go all over to do workshops and talks about Moldavite. This is many years ago. Getting to the Czech Republic, lots of people knew who I was. Some people liked me, some people didn't. I got to know quite a few people that I liked, and I got to know a few people that I stayed away from. Moldavite has not such a good element of, let's say, fair trade, because most of the pickers are alcoholics, druggies, and guys that have been in and out of prison, and they on a night go to illegally go to the sand mines. The sand mines only sell to certain people, Chinese and big corporations. They basically collect all the Moldavite in a big black case, which I've seen happen at one of the shows in, I think it was Germany, Munich show. And they hand the case over and they receive hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of euros. And then they go. So it's kind of tied up. Then you've got your locals. Is it? I can't remember. Chesney Crumble, something like that. I can't even pronounce it. But that's where the Moldavite Museum is. The guy at the Moldavite Museum, he's basically part of the town hall. So he's another one that, you know, if you want to get Moldavites, you have to go through him. And then there's a few, you know, let's say kind of dodgy dealers, you know, here buying here and there. And then you've got to be careful of the fake market as well. So when I go and buy, I try and buy from people that I believe in and I trust. Some in the past, I've kind of like thought, you know, I'm not going to buy from them anymore, even though they're genuine. I just don't like the feeling that I got, even though they're beautiful. So I really like to buy from people that I care for and I believe has a good, loving energy. There's a lot of ego in this field of work and a lot of anger. I don't know why, but there is. So this is the basis and the basics of Moldavite, of how I started. So Moldavite, if we now then start to look at what Moldavite, now we've gone through that process, so you know that I at least know what I'm talking about to a certain degree. I could talk to you about this for a month. I could talk to you now for a month. I could tell you, be careful about Moldavites. Just hang on. So I'm forever getting Moldavite. 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 Bought these about 4 years ago. You probably already know that. Bought some of them. And then I got these, which is black tektite. A piece of Moldavite that broke. Another one here. Another one here. Tektite here. All what I've just shown you is fake. That's fake Moldavite. Okay, all of that's fake. So the fake is getting better and better. And I got offered some last week and I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm not bothered. Not interested anymore. If people are going to go and buy fake Moldavite, then that's up to them. I tried my best to say, be careful. So it all really started when the elevating energy of Moldavite made me think. Did anybody see that? I said, did you see what happened? And obviously nobody saw what happened. I literally believe that I lifted off the floor. I had to look at my feet. Now I didn't, but then I realized that there's something about Moldavite that has a unique frequency that can help you move in and out of your body easier. So for astral travel, it's fantastic. Any kind of psychic work, it's fantastic. Healing work, incredible. So I realized that there was a frequency in Moldavite that was different from any other crystal. Now, I wanted to know if this was true because, of course, it happened to me, but who says it's going to happen to you? So I used to put the Moldavite on clients and then not put the Moldavite on clients and give healing sessions. I have to say that every time I put a Moldavite on the third eye of a client, more often than not all the time, but more often than not, there was always a moment where they got up and said, did you put something on my forehead? And I say, yes. And they would say, as soon as you put that on my forehead, I saw colors. I saw my mother in the spirit world. Like I was getting like weird sensations. It was like somebody, like I could go through a list of 100, 200 things. I felt pressure on my brain, like somebody was squeezing it. I started crying. I started getting palpitations and so on and so on. So, like, well, come on, it's only a piece of glass, right? But it isn't. It isn't. Because I was kind of joking. I said, well, it's only a crystal. And then they'd look at me and say, no, it's not just a crystal. What was it? And I'd say, it's this green thing. And the more I did it, the more I kept doing it. It was like, now I'm getting used to this. Yeah, it does. It's amazing. And those who came to me, who were brought to me because their wives were insisting that they came, they could have been, let's say, CEOs. They could have been local businessmen. It could have been a doctor. It could have been a nurse. Could have been a scientist. I had lots of scientists coming. Like one of my favorites is the big guy, Wolfgang. He's passed now, but he was one of the clients that didn't believe in any of these things, but yet his house was haunted by a monk, and he didn't believe any of it until he believed it when I was there and I was thrown across the room, and then he realized there's something bad here, and he realized, okay, and maybe there is something, and then he realized this until we cleared that monk and we cleared him, and I placed a piece of Moldavite on him too. Now he was the CEO of Schwarzkopf, right? Big German guy, doesn't believe in any bullshit, but yet a piece of Moldavite blew him away. So I got to realize that, Moldavite is the only crystal that I can almost guarantee that if I'm doing a healing session, this is my best partner to make that healing session the most amazing experience of their life. And most of the time it was, sometimes not, because we're going deep, and sometimes there's so much trauma that the Moldavite takes time to burrow itself in and clear the trauma. So what does Moldavite do? Great question. What does Moldavite do? If we were to have a list of 10,000 things it could do to the physical and the spiritual and the emotional, I think that would only be 20% of what it does. Because out of the over 10,000 clients that I've worked with, whenever I use Moldavite, there was always slight differences of its power and its magic. So it led me to believe that Moldavite works on different people. Does Moldavite work instantly? Not always. I had one client called Astrid who used to come and there was nothing for months. And then one day we bored down that deep. We got to where we needed to. We cleared away what we needed to clear away. And then boom, she started crying. And she opened up, and sometimes it can take a while. Everybody wants things instantly, right? And I say to people, the reason why I elevated at the show and the reason why I told you how many clients I had is because imagine if you're working in that energy, if you're working in healing and psychic work, you're already clearing away the negativity to be able to work in that energy. You can't feel bad. You can't feel sick. You can't be, feeling angry. If you're working with clients, you've got to feel happy and joyful, and you've got to feel light, and you've got to have cleared a lot of stuff to be able to get to the point where the Moldavite really does what it's meant to do. So if you were to ask me, out of 10 people, how many people will, let's say 100, how many people out of 100 will feel Moldavite instantly? I'd say maybe 5%, because the other 95% are filled with trauma. Maybe 5% are very lightly filled with trauma, and they might have done a lot of work on themselves. But that's just a ballpark, because like I said, there was a German guy who came to me, believed in nothing, and yet something happened and he was blown away. And so Moldavite is incredible, and you can't put your finger on it. I think that was one of the reasons why I loved it so much. Amethyst, I can put my finger on it straight away. Moonstone, I can put my finger on it. I know exactly what Herkimer Diamond does. I know now exactly what Tektite does, black Tektite. I can put my finger on most crystals, just about what kind of energy and frequency they are ish. Not 100%, but Moldavite always kept me not guessing. It kept me excited because of what it was going to do next. Until this day, I've sold over, I think maybe realistically, we're up to what we're up to on the Moldavite. Just on the Moldavite trios. Just on the Moldavite trios. Let's have a look. This is just the trios, okay? So look, we're up to what are we up to there? 4,138. So that means I've sold 4,138 just of the trios. That's not it, because I also sell Moldavite with Tektite on their own, Maltec, and I've sold thousands of them. I've sold Moldavite and Herkimer Diamond, thousands of them, and I've sold thousands of Moldavites. So I've sold over 10,000 more, probably 20,000, 30,000. I don't know. I sold tons, right? So understanding Moldavite is the hardest thing you can. And everybody says, when's the book out? The book is out when Moldavite stops changing as rapidly as it is doing. So what do you mean, Mark? When I first had a piece of Moldavite in my hand, what it did then to what it does now is, for me, completely different. It's changed dynamics. It's almost instinctively knows the frequency around us. It's working with us. People are sick and ill with poisons, and people are wearing the trios and saying they're feeling better and healthier. They feel like they feel better every time they wear the trio or a Moldavite. There's stuff happening to people who are, I think the word is detoxing. There's a spiritual detox which has never been as strong. Today, I say that Moldavite is the most detoxing crystal for poisons and issues and fear within your body. That's how I feel. I've got one of the, on a side note, I've got a Moldavite that when I saw, I fell in love with it. And I rung the bank and said, can I afford to buy it? And the bank manager said, yeah, Matt, you do very well. We'll support you. So I bought that crystal. I haven't brought it here. I should have done, really, but I haven't. And that's called the Flame of Bohemia. It's in the safe. And I got offered three offers in the past year. And one was close to buying a property. I could buy a property here in the village, and I won't sell it. I love it. So it's not about money. I don't get, and what I paid for it is a fraction of what it's worth. The Moldavites that I bought 20 years ago, I could have, like, and then what I bought last week, the bag that I bought last week, I could have bought three bagfuls of Moldavite for one bagful now. So the price of Moldavite has gone so high, but there's also an issue that because it's gone so high, the demand of fake Moldavite has increased. China has realized that when you've got a demand for fake, when you've got a demand for a real product, which is like Moldavite, then they're going to fake more. My friend was in, well, I've got a friend who goes to China all the time, and he sends me photos of the barrels of Moldavites. The barrels, they're basically in big blue barrels. There's so many of them. And they go from like 8 or 9, or they did, I'll go back into that in a minute, 8 or 9 grams. So it's like, it might be from 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 50 to 60 grams. the sizes, and then they're all in big barrels, and you basically can go to all it's like a polygono here. It's an industrial place where everybody goes, and there's shops full of crystals everywhere, but mainly fake. So it's important that you're aware that sometimes you can buy a fake Moldavite, and I've done that a few times, even with people that I trusted. So it's very tempting for somebody in the Czech Republic to place an order in China very easily, that they can spend, I don't know, 4,000, 5,000, and then they can get the Moldavite, which in true value, if it was Moldavite, would be 100,000. So your 5,000 can be turned into 100,000 very quickly and easily. So if you've got a website and it basically says, yes, I'm in the Czech Republic and I can certify, anybody can certify anything. Anybody can certify anything, okay? It's just a certificate. And anybody can say anything on a website. You can't get to them. You don't know unless you really deep dive. You don't know. So everybody's offering Moldavite. Everybody's offering Moldavite with a certificate on Etsy, eBay, and Amazon, okay? I know for a fact when people every day send me messages and show me a Moldavite, I don't answer back anymore. I don't even bother. Why? Because I know they've just bought a fake Moldavite. So you have to be careful where you buy your Moldavites from. So my suggestion is buying from locally sourced shops, because they've got the chances of them selling a fake. Imagine you having a shop and you love selling crystals and you love crystals. Most people who have a crystal shop love crystals, right? And yes, they want to make a living. Of course they do, but they ultimately love crystals. So when they get a crystal, they put it in their counter and they actually love it. So the chances of them buying a fake deliberately, well, you won't last long in a business if you're selling fakes. It won't take 2 minutes before everybody hears about it. So I always suggest you buy locally. If you go to Chesney Crumble, I don't know how to pronounce it, but if you go there, there's about 8 shops there that sells Moldavite. They're all genuine, without a doubt. All of them are genuine. I've been into, I think there's 7 of them, 7 shops. The 2 brothers that I fell out with who were trying to scam me. So like I said, they're selling genuine, but you have to be careful because they're clever guys. They know how to scam you. What does that mean? How do they scam you? I'll give you a great example. When I buy Bajerski hedgehogs, which are probably the most desirable Moldavites in the world, when I buy them, I'm just checking it out now. The hedgehogs have to be, and this is not a bad example. It's not a bad example. So what you do is you take your spyglass and you look at all the points and you look all the way around, and what you're looking for is any damage. Okay, somebody was asking me, how do you value it? How do you rate it? This is how you rate it. You look at the color. If it goes ding, this is a chime. But I don't talk about chimes but then people charge more for chimes. But this in fact is a chime. You heard it then. You just heard that chime. But I don't like to drop it because I don't want to break it. So you look at it and you look at every single pointer, and then you smell it. And sometimes you can smell a certain rancid smell. And what that rancid smell is acid. And it's hard to get rid of acid when you've put acid. And why would you put acid on such a beautiful piece? Well, I'll tell you why. When you dig from Maliclum, right? And you might accidentally dig this, and your digging might be a metal or a pick, and you accidentally chip a little piece off there. To a buyer of Moldavite who's not interested in the energy and the frequency, but just in the crystal itself, if it's got a chip in, the value has gone down by 60%, minimum 60. So what they do is they get acid, and they just touch with a little brush at that point where the glass is showing. So, if I smash this, you can see the glass, right? So here there's a little, right, just to put a little tiny bit. What happens is the acid eats it away, so it dulls to exactly the same and clears that cut away, so it looks all perfect. So that's one of the reasons why this is so expensive, because it's what's called museum quality. And some people call it grade AAA, AAA. So depending on shape is also, I'll give you another example as well. When I was there a few years ago, there was a piece of Moldavite that looked like this. It looked better than that, actually. Let me try that again. It looked like that, okay? And it was exactly like that. It wasn't from there. It was from Malliclum, and it looked like one of them things that you slide on ice, and it was perfectly formed with this tail. It was no more than, I think, 3 grams, and of course, he showed me that. He showed me a bone, a perfect bone. Let me draw it properly. It was perfect though. It was perfect on both sides. It was like equal. It was equal. They call them dumbbells. It was equal. And the color was spectacular. And there were 3 other pieces. So this guy only collected the most stunning, unusual pieces, which were absolutely should have been in the museum. Well, I fell in love with that piece. And back then, he wanted for this little tiny piece 3,800 euros for that one piece. So now its probably value is 15,000. So what a great, I didn't have the money at that time, but I wanted it. And even to this day, I remember it and wish I could have afforded it, but I couldn't. So I'm skipping back from one thing to another. I'm sorry about that. Moldavite does not need to be a Malliclum. It doesn't need to be a clum. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It can be anything. It can be a little tiny piece like this, or it could be a dumbbell like this. That there is just short of 30,000 now. I can't show you the color of it, but if you could see the color of this, it's high intensity. It's stunning. There isn't a mark on there of damage at all, and it's mint. I don't know if you can see this, or even if it'll work. Nah, sorry, it's hard to see. But if you get a light underneath that, it's going to look just incredible. This should be in a museum. So that's another stunning piece. I just want to show you some of these, not because I have actually no interest. In fact, I feel sick when they sell. I don't really want them to go, but I have to put them on the market. But I always feel a bit sick afterwards. Oh, did I really want to sell that? That's why I won't sell the Flame of Bohemia. I just don't want to sell it. I don't care how much somebody's willing to offer. I don't care. It's just, it means more to me. So that's that one. This one is a round about 6,000 plus. Again, this is high quality, and when you look at it, there's no damage. It's absolutely perfection. So, you know, the reason why I say to people, it doesn't matter what size you get. I sell these for two reasons. One, because there's a lot of collectors like to buy them. Okay, so collectors buy them off me every day. But my main sellers are these for clients who want to attune. And just on a side note, just feeling that right now, it's incredible. Just the feeling. My eyes normally go like now, and my eyes are going all strange. They're like, it feels like they're buzzing a little bit, they're burning, they're tingling. My forehead is kind of like on fire. My heart, my chest is on fire. I'm struggling to breathe. My thought patterns go all over the place because it's erratic. I'm just all over with it with Moldavite. It kind of sends you to a like, it's not for kind of like, how do I explain it? If you're in the company of Moldavite, sometimes you've got to sit down. You've got to just stop. And when I'm at the shows or wherever I'm choosing Moldavite, if I'm looking through 10,000, 15,000 of these Moldavites, I might be choosing 700, 600. You can imagine how much energy that you're working with. And I have to literally walk out of the door, sit down for a while, and then come back in again to be able to get over that energy. So I just wanted to say that the color, the shape, the texture, the damage, or if there's no damage, the weight, where it comes from, are all very much why people value Moldavite differently. So the valuation to somebody who is a collector of Moldavite, who has no interest in the esoteric, the energy of Moldavite, don't give a shit about that. I just want good quality Moldavite, and I want the best. I want to buy a nice piece because it's an investment. It was a good investment 20 years ago. I'm telling you now, if you bought Moldavite 20 years ago, that was a good investment. So it's different. It's different. So when I sell pieces at 20 and 30,000, they might sell once a year or once every 5 years. And who buys that is normally is either a dealer who'll call me and say, I've got a client for it. And I'll say, okay, well, I don't really want to sell it. Okay, I just wanted to know I've got a client for one, just like that. Or a real dealer will come to my site and then might make me an offer or just buy it. So they just sell. I don't really need to try to negotiate. They just sell. So when it comes to people like you and I, and we're just interested in the energy of that, then we might see a crystal that we like, a Moldavite that we like, because it might be a teardrop. And I used to really love teardrops. Don't know why. I used to love mounting them in gold, in silver, and just wearing them for months and years, and then either give it away, or I often gave them away. Then what I'd do is people would call me and say, I'd like a piece of Moldavite. So I had some good clients. I mean, multi-millionaire clients. So I used to get, I've had a piece at 92 grams. I actually, back in the days, you could get, if you looked hard enough, you could get a piece at 92 grams, 72 grams, and 80 grams. I used to, buy for very wealthy or famous people. So, and they used to work with them as well. So they used to love holding them and working with them. So that's it, really. I wanted to share the story of Moldavite with you, and I think we'll do a part 2 as well on Moldavite. But I wanted to do part 1 to be able to take you through at least who I am and what I sell. So, I'm not just a guy who's saying, hello, we're going to talk about Moldavite today. You know that this is my passion. But if you sit with me and you start talking about Moldavite, you've got me. Right? Talk about anything else, but talk about Moldavite, you've got me, because it's my passion. I love it. And if you take a piece of Moldavite, whether it's scratched, whether it's damaged, whether it's cracked, I'm going to want to look at it and I'm going to want to feel it. And a lot of my work is about when I sell a piece of Moldavite, I don't look at the profit. I look at what you're going to get from it. That's really important to me. Although profit is good because you have to pay wages and you have to look after your home and pay the bills. And it's just another piece of work to me. So it's just another product. So yeah, you put your markup on, but I give a lot of crystals away. So I always feel good about that. There's a balance there. People who can afford will buy it, and people who can't afford, I'll give you one, or I'll do my best to help you as much as I can. That's the way it is. It's not all about money. Forget that. But when you buy a piece or you've got a piece and you start to tell me about what the effect was, that to me is value. That's the value. I'm more interested what you got from it. How did that feel? What did it make you feel? I love the stories. I love the magic that comes with it. Moldavite has magic with it. So a lot of my clients over the years came back and said, you're never going to guess this. And I'm like, okay, can we go for a coffee and talk about it? And we sit down and then they tell me a whole story that might take 20 minutes or an hour. And like, that blew me away. And I used to come home and say, when I was married to Susie, you're just not going to believe this. This piece of Moldavite did this and did that. Okay, so that's that. There's 176 people, and I didn't imagine there'd be that many people interested in Moldavite. Actually, that's great. So Moldavite, why does it disappear? It's one of the most strangest things, more stranger than socks, more stranger than any other crystal. Why does Moldavite disappear? Well, I think there's, like anything else, there's not just one plain simple answer to Moldavite. And I believe in the frequency of Moldavite that it sometimes vibrates out of our sight. So is it still in the same place? Sometimes it can be. And then you can say, hang on a minute, I looked there and why I looked, that's the first place I looked. And then a week later, it's back in the same place. So there is something with it vibrating out of frequency. Where does it go when it vibrates out of frequency? Because the choice of the two could be, I've often asked myself, could it be that I didn't see it, but it was there all along? Well, I asked, Susie when I was married to her, or I asked my partner now, where's it gone? She looked for it. It wasn't there. And now it's there. So I'm kind of leaning on the fact that it does disappear and it goes somewhere else. I meditated on it a few times, and one time something resonated. And that was when I believed that, and I still do to this day, and I can't prove it, but I'm going to tell you a piece out of the book called The Power of Moldavite. I believe that there is still one large piece bigger than, I don't know how big, maybe, I don't know, half a mile, quarter of a mile. I don't know. But I believe there's a huge piece. I call it the mother stone. And I believe it's underground. I think it's somewhere very deep. And I was on the hunt to find it. I also was on the hunt to find Moldavite where nobody else knows where Moldavite is. And the reason why is because of the direction of the Moldavite, where it came down. If you were to throw a stone into water at a certain angle, and that the splashes of that water, it's inevitable. The impact, it's not only going to just be in one place. I believe it's elsewhere. So I kind of made, this is telling you, I kind of made a map. We made a map. There was more than just me. There was a few people. We made a map. And then we made a kind of trajectory of where we think it could elsewhere be. And we think we know where it is. And this is it's a Moldavite, but because it's in a different part of the country, this area, I don't want to say too much, but because it's in a different part, it will have a different color. It'll have a different shape. It may not even look like a Moldavite when you look at it. I think it's more denser. And it's harder I think it's darker. Anyway, that's my theory. But so anyway, so you can see that I've been really interested in Moldavite. I take it more so as this Moldavite is somehow vibrating to a frequency at the mother stone, because I think there's a huge piece somewhere that is deep underground. And when I say deep, I mean really deep. So that's my theory. It could be complete BS, but I think that it vibrates to the mother stone. Does it go back to the mother stone? I don't know, but it vibrates to the mother stone. That's one theory that I have. The other theory as well is that it's needed elsewhere. So I can't really explain unless I had a full day to explain. It's like David Icke saying that the Queen is a lizard. Just by saying that, it's just ridiculous. But if you look at the backstory and listen to 10 hours of his work, of how he talks about Vlad the Impaler and all of the other stuff, then there's kind of like, you can kind of understand it a bit more. So there's no point talking about that. But what we can talk about now for the next 10 minutes is what Moldavite does, how it works, and what's the best way to use Moldavite. Should you wear Moldavite all day long and all night? I do, and I enjoy it. So I will leave this Moldavite, which I just got today, and I'm going to wear this and see what happens through the day and night. When is a good time to work with Moldavite? Well, it's like anything else. If you want to feel better because you feel crap, then wear Moldavite to make you feel better. But it's going to take a while for it to get rid of all the heaviness and the darkness and the stress and all the negativity. So it's going to take a while to make you feel better. But of course, if you wear it, it's going to start working on you. Now, if you're of a high frequency and you want to connect to the spirit world, Moldavite is definitely something that I would use. If you want to connect to extraterrestrial energy, which is not just spaceships and UFOs and no, extraterrestrial can be worlds within worlds. So you can connect to, let's say, I've never connected, just on a side note, I'm telling you this now as a fact. I have dealt with, and my fact, my truth, I have dealt with people who have had attachments. You stick a Moldavite on somebody who's got an attachment on their third eye or their solar plexus, depending where that attachment is, and you can see a battle taking place. And the Moldavite is fantastic, a protector against what I call these demonic energies or attachments. Fabulous. If you've already got an attachment, it might take a while for it to go, but the Moldavite will certainly persist. And it's like burning the attachment or the demonic energy or the heavy or dirty energy. That's why a lot of people freak out and go crazy with Moldavite. Why? Because they've got an attachment, and the attachment will fight back, and it will cause that person to go crazy and say bad things and then blame it on the Moldavite. And a lot of the times that person's got an attachment. So Moldavite is bloody amazing for clearing negative, heavy, dirty attachment energy. How do I know that? Because I've worked on many hundreds and hundreds of girls and boys with attachments. After a healing session, you can see there's a change in them, and there was a fight. Normally there's a lot of emotion, a lot of over exaggerated movements and so on. I could go into detail for ages with that, but suffice to say, it's fantastic for clearing demonic energy for sure. The best crystals to wear, I think, with Moldavite is this. That's why I make them, because they were the best ones working together. So when you're working with cleansing and clearing, as Moldavite does, and helping you see clearer, once you've got rid of the debris from within, the negative energy, the attachments, the issues, the blocks, the trauma, everything that you've created to protect yourself with, that needs to go. The Moldavite does that, but at the same time, your Tektite is absorbing the residue. And then to be able to see far more clearly, you've got this Herkimer diamond, which helps you see vividly. So it's a double whammy for the Moldavite. And there is something else with Herkimer diamond that I noticed, not the Herkimer diamond from India. So don't bother. It doesn't work the same. It's beautiful, but it doesn't work in the same way. This Herkimer diamond seemed to, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it, but everything works better with Herkimer diamond. So my conclusion was the Herkimer diamond is a magnifier for all the other crystals. It amplifies, I call it an amplifier, but it magnifies the energy of the other crystals. Phenomenal. That's why they're the perfect three crystals if you're working in the psychic world and you want to up yourself, you want to step up, you want to be more visual, you want to feel more, you want to see more, you want to be more intuitive. Perfect combination. Moldavite alone is fantastic. Always recommend Moldavite on its own. I don't recommend buying a big piece, because when you buy a big piece, you value it. You're already committed to that value. So let's say you just buy a piece and it's, I don't know, 50 euros. Okay, you buy a piece that might be 50, 80 euros, depending. The value isn't that much in the sense of you buying something at 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, because I think there's something that is so profound in Moldavite. Most people don't feel Moldavite because they've already got this, oh, it's going to be amazing when I've got it. And they've invested in it so much. They've got so much hooked into it. It's like, it's got to work. It's got to work. I've spent all this money. And when you've got that energy, it's like, that's not how it works. So when people say to me, when's it going to work? I don't know when it's going to work. I don't know what issues you've got and what you're going through. But what I can say is that what I noticed with a lot of my clients is when they put a trio on or a piece of Moldavite on, like this one, I just took some from my website. This is like a 300 euro piece. They took like a piece like this and they put it on and they just left it on. And then, oh, I'm not feeling anything. All right. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Do you want your money back? I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought it would work. Well, why don't you just don't even think about it for the next few weeks or a month? Just give it a month and don't think about it and just wear it. Oh my God, Mark, type in. Yeah, what? You're never going to believe this. Yeah, I am going to believe it. So now you felt something, right? Yeah. Honestly, I'm like, you don't need to say honestly. I already know. But what I found fascinating is that they never felt anything, and then they felt something. So now it works. But why didn't you believe it didn't work before? Because it didn't work on you. And because I said, don't even think about it. Don't even worry about it. Leave it around your neck. And you know what? If you don't get anything from it, then send it me back. I'll give you a full refund, right? So now they relax. Oh, good. Because if it doesn't work, I'll give me my money back, right? Why is it then a few days later, everything's fine, and now all of a sudden they're starting to feel things? That's just an observation after years of working with the crystal and listening to people. So Moldavite, third eye, is probably the most beautiful place to put it. If you're asleep and you're having a healing session, if you're having a healing session with a good healer, and you've got a slice, just a little slice, even if it's 1/2 a gram, if it's 0.2 grams of a slice, I've got one over there. I'm not going to get up, but it's just a tiny piece. It's normally in my pocket. I put that on my third eye. I'm blown away by it. And whenever I'm stuck, whenever I'm struggling with something, wherever I want some instant, I don't know, creativity or answers, I'll put a piece of Moldavite here and I'll just lay down. A lot of the times I'll put a piece of Moldavite on my third eye and fall asleep. So in the morning, I'll look for it in the bed. Moldavite on the heart is fantastic. It's another energy frequency. And it's almost like, it's hard to explain, but if somebody was to say to me, what do you really think goes on when third eye is easy? It's opening you up to things that you shut off from. They shut off from drinking polluted water that kills your pineal gland and all the crap. So it's clearing that. It's giving you a brief moment, and it could be just 2 seconds. That's all you need sometimes. Wow. And then you know that there's something about this crystal that is unique. And then you work towards it. That's the beautiful thing. You work towards Moldavite and how it works. And now you know you've had a taste of it, you want more. That's 20 years of my life. That's what I've been. I want a little bit more, but I've stopped wanting and I just enjoy the ride. There's something with the connection of Moldavite frequency and the consciousness. And this is the most baffling to me. It's almost like your consciousness becomes stronger and it becomes louder. And it's almost like you've got sorry, it would go off. It's almost like you've got a loudspeaker coming out of you. So the Moldavite creates the consciousness to be more visible in a feeling way. So when you've put the Moldavite on here, it's not about love. It's more about knowing who you are, because the consciousness is who you are. And when we say we go within, the answers are within, your happiness is within. Moldavite helps you find that happiness when it's on your heart. So it can take a day, it can take an hour, it can take a minute, it can take 2 years, it can take 3 years. Nobody really knows. But what I have found, that the people that I used to work with on a healing level who had suffered for 40 years, put a Moldavite on, and within a space of months and years, their whole life changed, and they put it down to the Moldavite. Now, Moldavite isn't the fix. The Moldavite is the key that helps you fix yourself. So ultimately, you're the healer, but Moldavite's just the opener of the connection to when it's on your if it's on your solar plexus, that's a different energy as well. It's a different frequency. If it's on your throat, one of my good clients suffered very badly. Well, many of them. I had 20 or 30 singers who couldn't sing anymore because of trauma. And I put Moldavite and asked them to tight. So like it was a Moldavite. Imagine that's a Moldavite. So I'd ask them to put it there, Just leave it there. Why? Just put it on and leave it there. And then within a space of an hour or a week or a month, they'd come back and say, my voice is coming back. I can't believe it. What is this? What is this crystal? Now, like I said, I could give you 10,000 different things that happen to people that help them. And you're listening to this, and maybe none of you have experienced anything with the Moldavite. Maybe some of you have. I haven't looked at the messages. But I can only tell you what I've seen through working with thousands of crystals. Moldavite was the one that I would always turn to when I felt I needed it the most. Right? This is going to be a hard healing session, Moldavite. This is a deep, traumatic healing session, Moldavite. This is a demonic possession. This is a psychic attack, Moldavite. Moldavite always was the crystal that helped with the heavy work and did the job. And then afterwards, I'd always let them have the Moldavite. So I used to give a lot of Moldavites away. I used to give tons of crystals away. Moldavite was probably the main one that I would give away because of real deep issues and traumas. So I guess that's part one. And we'll go to part two and maybe part three, because you can't really talk about Moldavite in an hour. But at least now, if you've watched this one and we do another one, maybe say tomorrow, I'll try and do one tomorrow, and then we'll move on and see where we go from there. But it's now 7:11. Why don't we do another 15 minutes of Q&A? So I'm not going to answer any questions up until this person and then so on. So if you keep going now down, ask a question and I'll try and answer the question. If I don't know the answer, I'm just going to, I'll just say, I'm sorry, I don't know, because I don't know everything about Moldavite. Some of you probably know more than me, I'm sure, but because some of you will have worked with it. So Moldavite is great for energy healing. I agree, Alan. I agree. I think it really is. Meditation. Yeah, great for using, if you're using any kind of spiritual tools, like Alan says, it really does help. The closest one to it, for the reading and for the spiritual attunement, try Moonstone if you can't afford Moldavite. Moonstone is a great crystal. It doesn't hit the same frequency, but it definitely opens you up. Moldavite can be given to anybody. There is no such thing as a Moldavite that's dangerous, or anybody who says, I'm sorry, but this is my truth because I've worked with it so long and I've given it to children, animals, people who are anorexic, who are depressed, people who are just starting a spiritual journey. Sorry, guys, but if anybody tells you that you've got to be of a certain level to work with Moldavite, that is pure ego. I'm sorry. Or you've just heard it said by somebody else, so you're regurgitating somebody's information, which most people do. I think we all have that issue within us. Okay. Yeah, well, that's a great question. That's a great question. And I answer this question this way. Why is it, right, so many people say, Mark, I don't know why, but I saw a crystal on your website. I fell in love with it and it was Moldavite. As soon as I bought it, everything changed. Now, that is the same frequency as, and this happened a lot. Hi, Mark. Somebody's told me about your healing. I'd like a healing session with you. Can I come? And I'd say, well, I'm a little bit fully booked at the moment. But if I ever, let's say, I used to do this a lot. So I used to please people a lot. If I had a space where a client would cancel, or if I thought, oh, I'll do another hour, it's okay, I'd just ring them up and say, okay, I can book you in now for today. They'd always say this. The strangest thing happened when you said, yes, I'll book you in as soon as I can. I started feeling better and I started healing. And I don't know why it felt like you were healing me straight away. I don't know if I did. I don't know if that was the spirit world healing them. I don't know if it was them healing themselves. But I do know there's definitely a pattern in that, in not just me, but I'm sure other people feel the same. And I'm sure there's something about self-healing. Sure there is. I feel better now because he's going to heal me. He's going to help me. So I'm sure there is. But Moldavite's the same. Why is it that people feel better as soon as they buy a piece? And yeah, I've got tons of stories, but yeah, I believe it does. I believe you get the connection straight away. It's fascinating, actually. Fascinating. You're most welcome, Linda. I just do my best. Where can I get tested? Hang on. Probably threw it away. So I never ever get Moldavite tested, but a woman was really not very nice and started being not nice, and that was because I bought some very very rare pieces of Bessanits. They're called nuggets, and they're a different color of green, and they look like a little nugget, and they're very expensive. So I was selling them at 300, 400. 295 for the little nuggets. And yeah, I get this all the time. Oh, I took it to somebody who knows about crystals and they said it's a fake. And I went, it's not a fake. It's not a fake. Honestly, it's not. It's just a very unusual Moldavite. And there's tons of different Moldavites, different unusual shapes. Anyway, she was really, I said, please just send it back. And I gave her her money back straight away. No problem. But I just wanted to show people, right? I don't know why shouldn't have to. So I sent it away to the, this is like the Federation of Moldavite. Okay. So I'm going to show it you now. And this is what they do. They send you but this was the exact piece. Okay. So I don't know if you want to take a screenshot. So, Dr. So-and-so, EEG. I have no time for any of this, but the telephone number is +420 776 196 204. Okay, so it basically comes back and it it's been tested, blah blah blah. The stone is proved as natural Moldavite. It comes from southern Bohemia region of the Czech Republic. Index it's been tested with UV. It's been tested with UV, VIE, and Rumi spectrum. I don't know. It's all too long, but it's been tested 4-5 different ways, and these deal with this every day. So anyway, I had that done. I actually made a video of it. I think I did. And there was another one I sent as well. This one. Again, this was tested. So it's a difficult market. But anyway, so there you've got the number. Any of them. And check it out as well. It's like, I'm going to experiment on Moldavite. I'm going to try it on my third eye today or this week. Next week, I'm going to put it on my my throat or my chest or my solar plexus. Or the next day, I'm going to put it in my palm, or I'm going to put it in my palm and put my hand on my chest. Try different methods, because each time you place the Moldavite on you, it's working in a different way. So take, for instance, today, it's fairly high up because I want my throat to be healed and I don't want any negativity on my throat, which is great. I think I've done okay in talking today. It's close to my heart, my chest here, so it's not far off. Feels great. Now, some days I'll feel I want it lower down, and some days I'll want to feel it higher up. So It's like choosing fruit. Which fruit do you want today? Same thing. Where do you want to work with it? How do you think I should? It's all about trying to connect to the Moldavite. And that's a personal journey that you should enjoy. Yeah, the flush has got nothing to do with Moldavite per se. The flush is just a word which we use that is called detox. So Moldavite is detoxing you, and there's so many things that can happen. Like for me, it always works on my eyes. This past, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months, Moldavite just works on my eyes. Why? Because my eyes need healing. So Moldavite has this unique energy of working on different parts of your body. When I first started working on Moldavite, some of the Moldavites that I worked with just instantly opened my heart and I burst into tears. So it was healing on a deeper level than I could even understand. Sometimes I'll get a buzz in my ears. Sometimes my throat will start coughing like crazy and so on. Like a noise in my ear, like a ringing for a few minutes. I might get a massive headache and so on. So yeah, it's very unique and each of us feels differently. I lost one Moldavite. Stud, please make some more. We are on with it. We're on with it. I promise you. You're most welcome. Thank you. I think in these 20 years, I would say safely that I've lost about 100 pieces that just disappeared. Just disappeared. Yeah. You just get used to it. It's expensive though. Yeah, it affects your hearing. It can do. Underwater. Yeah, exactly. Well said, Rena. Well said. That's absolutely one of the feelings that a lot of my clients got. Felt like that they were underwater. And sometimes there's also a feeling of claustrophobia as well. So you feel it's too much. And a lot of people need to take it off because they freak out. But if you leave it on, you'll get through that. And whatever that process is, it's not evil. It's not hurting you. It's clearing from you. And I often use this analogy, like if you cut yourself, the first thing the doctor does is get some alcohol and put it on the cut, and it burns like crazy. But that burn is is going to do you good because it's killing everything that's in there. Well, I see Moldavite as the same as alcohol. It burns and clears. That's how I see it anyway. Yeah, I mean, I've given thousands of pieces away of Moldavite to children and to little doggies, and it's been great. It's fabulous. Why did my piece of Tektite disappear? And we don't know exactly. I did try to say earlier on why. I think it vibrates out of line, but it vibrates out of frequency. Some people, some of my colleagues that I've worked with and meditated with, have said to me when I've said, do you have any understanding of why Moldavite disappears? And I'll do this is what I'll do now. I'll turn a card over with that question, okay, and see if I get any answer. So, why does Moldavite disappear? Okay, so if you look at this card, it's the Joker card, right? So it's just, for me, it's just a laugh. It's just a joke. It's almost like fun, right? Doesn't give me an answer. Every time I look for an answer, and if you look carefully, look at the green. Out of all the cards that I put, look at the piece of Moldavite. You can't even work that out, can you? Look at the piece of Moldavite there. Can you see it? There, green piece of bloody Moldavite. Why is that there? So this is that's the cleverness of the cards, but they never give me an answer, and I've always asked that. But when I've meditated on it, I sometimes see the crystal vibrate out of frequency. And when it's gone, it's almost like gone back. It's gone back to its original source. And that is why I believe it vibrates out of frequency, because it goes back to its source. Why has it gone back to its source? Why does anybody go back to your mother? You go back to your mother to get healing, to feel back at home again. and then you might vibrate back into our frequency. But that's just like, that's so out of there. It's like, can anybody even believe that? And I understand, and not even I can get it's even hard for me to really understand that. And is it true? But they bloody disappear, and they bloody come back sometimes. So there's got to be an explanation. Is it the spirit world? I've asked the spirit world. No, they don't take crystals and move them unless you're in a house which is, with a, let's say, a spirit trapped in between two worlds that maybe, is playing around. Yes, then things move. And yes, a Moldavite can move. But in general terms, how do you feel about faceted Moldavites? I don't feel anything. Moldavite's Moldavite. Even the dust is fantastic. I don't care what you do, because basically Moldavite is chipped and broken. It's cut. It's polished. The Moldavite, you can't change the form of Moldavite no matter what you do with it. It's still Moldavite. So it all has great effect. I have polished pieces. I have carvings. I don't really have so many now, but I've had a carving, held that. It was fantastic. So, for me, when you have an original piece that's just like this, I can see how people only want that, but some people don't care. I have chipped pieces that I give to people. I turn it into, I used to turn it into powder and use it in these sticks, and it's phenomenal energy. So I don't really worry about that too much and think about it too much. Got amazing visions when I meditate with Moldavite. Welcome to my world and many others. I so want to feel what you do, but so far haven't. But I will do what you say, relax and wear it. And yeah, exactly. Moldavite does remove attachments, I believe. I believe that too. I honestly believe that. I've seen from my own eyes one young girl about 19 years old who came to my Tickle Pink when I was in Tickle Pink upstairs, and something fell straight away, something banged, and like, all right, there's something else here. Something else is going on. I got a Moldavite, put it around her neck. As soon as I put it on her neck, within 15 or 20 minutes, she was fine. She walked out of that room and she was fine. And she was crying. She said, I feel so much better. I didn't tell her she had an attachment. She didn't say anything, but I knew, things fell and things moved and energy was awful. It was cold. It was hot. It was freaky. It was, weird. And there was definitely an attachment. And I opened the skylight right wide and just started the healing with the Moldavite on. And like I said, within 15, 20 minutes, she was fine. After the hour and a half healing, she fell asleep. And that was just doing some deep inner cleansing work, trauma work. But normally you have attachments because you've got traumas sometimes, or you're on drugs, or you're on, anyway. But yes, I agree. Moldavite definitely helps. I don't know. I've worked with Prophecy Stone, and it's a different frequency, different energy completely. It's fantastic, but a different energy. So I don't know. Like Libyan desert glass, it's lovely, and it's meant to be a like Moldavite, a tektite, but it's beautiful. I've got loads of pieces now, and I love wearing it, but it's a different frequency. If anybody relates it to the same, I'm sorry, they're just completely different. So. Depressed. That's because you're clearing away a lot of stuff that may be within inside you. I did some healing work on a lady who was they called her clinically depressed, okay, for 30, I think it was about 38 years. And she came for a healing session, and I placed Moldavite on her and told her to leave it on her. And she said she felt worse when she wore it. And I just said, well, just keep wearing it, because we're not getting anywhere if you keep taking it off. And it's like, why don't you just leave it on and just see what happens? So she said, okay, I'll decide. I'll do what you say. And she left it on. And in 4 weeks, the depression had disappeared, and she'd raised from feeling depressed to feeling a lot happier. And I said, how long did you leave it on for? She said, I think I had it on for about 2 weeks before I then realized the next day, because normally you don't realize when you feel better, right? That's a real strange thing. You only know when you feel bad, but when you feel better, oh yeah, I do feel better, right? Because when she came back and for a regular healing, because she came whenever she felt she wanted to come. And I said, how are you feeling? She said, actually, I feel a lot better. And I said, when did it start? She said, oh, I don't know. I said, well, how long have you had it on for? She says, about a couple of weeks. I went, okay, so you've had it on 2 weeks then. So it's starting to make a difference. She said, I never even thought about it. Yeah, I think it is. And then another 2 weeks later, when she came back, she was like a different woman. So I have seen people who feel that energy, and it isn't depression. What it is a residue from within, which is stuck there that can cause illness eventually. So it's removing that illness, and now you're feeling the burn of it. So it's even more burning. Okay. So when you cut yourself and you've got bits in there, yeah, it's okay. You can cope with it, right? And then it stays in there. And sometimes you can have them bits in your skin, underneath your skin, because it dries over. But if you quickly then put some alcohol in it, it burns like crazy. So I think that's how I can only relate to Moldavite. And sometimes I've felt terrible with Moldavite on. And then I realize afterwards, a few weeks later, I think, wow, it's gone now. And I'm never better. I've never felt better from the years that I work with it. So sometimes it can take years to work with and heal. Some people don't want to hear that, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's because there's a frequency in Moldavite, which is it has this energy that blasts more than any crystal. And it's a frequency like a jet wash. So ultimately, everybody's going to feel it around you. And a lot of people are focused on it. And when they are, it's like, okay, here you go. So I like wherever I am in the world, if I'm in England and somebody will come up to me and say, oh my God, what's that crystal around your neck? And I'll just take it off and give it them. And I'll say it's Moldavite. It's quite special. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go now, guys, because it's 7:30. I remember you did a Moldavite meditation activation session a long time ago. Nice to finish off with this. That was the first time I felt the Moldavite flush. Love if you did that another one soon. Okay, I'll do my best. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm a bit tired now because I've got all this Moldavite around me and I'm focused on it. So I'm going to do this. Sheena, you've just won this. It's your gift from the spirit world. So get in touch with Mark Bajerski. Okay. I'm going to write it on here now. How I did that is I just scrolled down and I didn't even look. I just typed. So, sorry, it's going to take a few minutes. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to take this down to the office tomorrow and they'll send this with love to you. Close my eyes, scroll down. Oh, let me try again. I'm going to go right to the top. I'm going to just look for a number, actually. So number 7. Okay, so who was number 7 at the top? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Brendan, you have just got yourself a Moldavite trio. Well done, brother. You deserve all the love in the world. You're the most beautiful, like Peter, you're beautiful people. And I hope you love this. Brendan Martin. Love you. Beautiful soul. A rare, beautiful soul, as we all are. But that's coming to you. And don't be wanting to give it to somebody else. This Moldavite wants to come to you. So I've got the number 37. So I don't know why that's just popped into my head. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, yeah, you're at number 7. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's 19, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's 30. And it's 7 more now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She's won again. Sheena, this is going to go to somebody that you love and care for. Okay. So my feeling, because I had a feeling that it was going to go to the same person again. So this has to go to somebody that you love and care for. And I think you already know who it is. For some reason, I've got like inside my heart, like there's somebody who needs help. So if you don't know who it is yet, hold on to it and wait till you know who it is, because it feels like maybe somebody in your family or friend that needs help or may need help soon. So I don't know if that means anything, but may do, may not. But this is for you again, for somebody else. All right, guys. Well, I don't need to put it in there. I just put it into both of them. I am going to say one thing. I'm going to scroll down and say, okay, just one thing, guys, before I go. Right, I'm just here now. Hang on, let's get how far we're going to go. Okay, I'm here. I'm here there now. Right, listen. Is there anybody who really doesn't have a single penny and they can't afford, they could never afford it? Just say yes. Just say the word yes. Just one more person. Just want the word yes. And I'm going to scroll down from here where I see yes. That's the person who'll get it. So I need to see one yes. I've got one yes here. So Magic Moon. Let me get another one. Give me a second. Okay, Magic Moon, this is going to come to you with love from the spirit world, from your family and spirit. It's actually beautiful, eh? Look at that one. Oh, good for you. Good girl. Thank you. Oh, boy. I don't know if you're a boy or a girl. Well done. So let me write this down, Magic Moon. So, Magic Moon. Okay, I'm doing one tomorrow night, so I'll also give away maybe. We'll see. I've got to be careful. The tax man. Oh, yeah. If they want such thing as a tax man, honestly, guys, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. The stress that my accountant and I have when we try and tell. We have to write everybody's name and address and email address because the accountant wants everybody's name who we've given a free crystal away because we don't believe you and we want to tax you on that because they can't tax you on gifts. So they attack you. So this is why I can't stand the establishment. I loathe the satanic establishment, but I love you guys and I wish you all a great night. Stop it, Mark. Okay, maybe till tomorrow night. I'm not sure, but if there is, you'll see part 2 at 6 o'clock again. And I'm wishing you all a lovely day. If you have received one of these, then please go to info@markbajerski.com. Tell them who you are and that a crystal is coming to you. We will need your name, address, telephone number, email for DHL delivery. All right. Love you all. Oh, keep an eye on markbajerski.com because I'm going to put some crystals at €1. So they could be €200, they could be €150, they could be €80, but I'm going to put them at €1. As from, I think tomorrow, we're going to start putting them on there as gifts as well. All right. Love you all. A bit tired now. Bye. Bye, everybody. Have a lovely evening and enjoy your Moldavite. Take care. Bye.